Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're back and we're live. Welcome to the EdTech Summit 2021. We're so pleased to have all of you here. We've been joined again by a very, very special guest all the way from DC. Her name is Inge Urbancic. She is the founder of the Pakistani American Teachers of English Network, PATENT, and she's an English professor as well. We will let her speak about her story and what she's going to be talking about today, which is something very, very interesting. She's going to be telling us about the future of learning, connecting and thriving in our global classroom. So without further ado, keep us updated with your comments and feedback. Inge, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me here today and for inviting me to your forum. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Inge Urbancic, and as she was saying, I am a professor of English here in the United States. I am going to, in the interest of time, we're going to jump right in, but I'm going to be talking today about the future of learning and connecting and thriving in our global classroom. So my background, for those of you who may not know who I am, I have a very diverse background, a very rich background, both in education, as well as business, international business, philosophy, Eastern philosophies. I am a consultant, an entrepreneur. So there are a lot of different facets to my background that give me a unique experience and perspective into what's happening in the world around us. So specifically, I am currently a PhD, a doctoral student at George Mason University, studying international education and education leadership. I have my master's in teaching English as a second language and my bachelor's in business administration, international business administration, as well as Eastern philosophy. I have been an English professor at the Virginia Tech Language and Culture Institute, as well as Northern Virginia Community College. I am also a teacher in the Fairfax County Public School System, and I'm certified in ESOL to teach K through 12 in Maryland and Virginia, as well as online and remote teaching certified. I'm also a PMP, a project manager, and the founder of several organizations. One is a travel company called C2C Travel, also English Live, which is an online English classroom. As they were mentioning, the founder of PATENT, which is the Pakistani American Teachers of English Network, as well as a consulting business. So just in a nutshell, this is a little bit about who I am. During my time as an English professor at the Virginia Tech Language and Culture Institute and NOVA, I spent many, many years working with students from all around the world. Even today, still in my classrooms, I have a very unique perspective because I am teaching students from everywhere here in the United States. And my classrooms really comprise like a little mini United Nations. If I have 20 students in my class, they might be from 20 different countries. So it really gives me a very unique perspective. I've focused very much on students from Saudi Arabia, as well as teachers in Saudi Arabia, as well as Pakistani teachers. So as I mentioned, I have a very global classroom. And in addition to that, being a travel business owner, I've been working to connect diverse societies together. So taking cultures and working to connect them. So for example, Americans with Cubans or Americans in the Middle East. So this has given me a very unique perspective, again, of what's happening, and a really frontline seat into what's happening and how we are able to connect with all of the diversity that exists around us. So I'm going to start today just looking at the power of connections, okay? The power of connections and the rise of technology in the classroom. So as we know, we are in the digital age, and especially because of COVID, all right, we have been transitioning from our traditional platforms of face-to-face instruction into the online world. Conferences such as this, online learning, online classrooms, has really provided opportunities like never before for students and people around the world to connect and interact in ways that they never had before. We're able to extend our reach now beyond borders and beyond cultures and into the homes and lives and classrooms of people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different societies that are so, so different from our own. Of course, there is a very huge digital divide, and access to this technology is not uniform around the world. And there are many, many organizations, very wonderful organizations, that are working very hard to break that digital divide, to be sure that all have access to the internet and all have access to these digital resources. So what I'm going to be talking about today is really in support of and in collaboration with these different organizations that are bridging the digital divide and helping to bring technology to all populations on the globe. So in this age of this digitalization, all right, I'm sure most of you have been touched and affected by this. Either you have your own children at home who are doing online learning, you are a teacher yourself, you're a professional in some way, that we're all witnessing this new global classroom. So the question is, what does this mean for our students? Okay, so first of all, we are living in this global society, okay? There are opportunities that exist for us to connect in addition to learning English. Learning English is only one component of connecting globally. This is an important thing to remember. We need to think about, in this global platform that we have created, okay, how do our students and children learn to use their voice? So either if you are talking directly in your Pakistani classroom with your teacher, or if you're talking about entering into a global conversation, right? How do our students learn to use their voice? And are they engaged and prepared for this global stage? Are they able to promote their own identity, their culture, and their values as Pakistanis? Think about, do our students and do we employ critical thinking and independent thought skills? Primarily and most importantly, the question I'm asking is, are our Pakistani students, are they prepared to thrive and have their voices heard in this global marketplace as we're looking at bridging the digital divide and bringing them into the global marketplace? Are they prepared? So just a little background for me. I have been involved in working with teachers in Pakistan now since about 2019. And I've had a great opportunity recently to visit Pakistan and Karachi for about 2 weeks. And I was able to talk with a lot of teachers, visit different schools, visit the Society for International Education. So I have I'm familiarizing myself with the system within Pakistan, which is the reason why I am sharing this unique perspective, especially with what I see can be enhanced in Pakistan. So when we are looking to see what opportunities exist, okay, again, we are making sure we are equipping our Pakistanis with their voice in this global marketplace. There's so many different types of schools in Pakistan, right? We have private schools. We have schools like Beacon House and the City School. And then we have a whole number of government schools. there is a privilege in Pakistan of a few students to receive skills in these types of skills that are taught in Western universities, like critical thinking and independent thought. But the idea is to ensure that in partnership with this technology and the reach from the digital divide, that we are empowering all Pakistani students throughout all schools in Pakistan in the world as a global classroom. As educators, we need to adjust and we need to adapt to this new system of education. Okay, this is so important. Our students and our children are growing up in a world that is very, very different from our own. They are growing up as global citizens. So it is our responsibility as educators and as parents to adjust and to adapt our teaching materials and our styles to ensure that we are preparing our students for this global success, to have their voices heard. So how do we do this? There is an idea called intercultural communicative competence. Okay, I think my slides are a little bit out of order, but it is called intercultural communicative competence, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. And the first thing I want to make sure that is very important to note, okay, is that what I'm talking about today is not an issue of dominance. It is not an issue of colonization. It is an issue of empowering and equipping students with the strategies that they need to thrive in the global platform as leaders, and to have their Pakistani voices heard in our global classroom and society. Remember, I am teaching students every day here from around the world to learn to find their voices. This is not taking away from their own culture. It is not taking away from their own language. It is adding to it. It is adding to the toolkit so that they can have their voice heard when they are in this global arena. So what is intercultural communication competency? Okay, this is basically a way, and it is a framework that we can see the meaning and the connections of the world around us. And through, I'm going to call it ICC for short, through ICC, the global connections that our students and that we are making create meaning, okay? ICC has been around for a while. There is a background from education, from psychology, sociology, anthropology. All of these different professions have looked to see how cultures connect, okay? And the power of ICC is recognizing, so if you think about your Pakistani child or student, it is recognizing their own unique strengths, okay? Yet, in addition to that, it's finding the common ground that unites us as humanity. It is not neutralizing a culture. It is celebrating your own culture, celebrating who you are, your identity, and in addition, adding on to the common ground that unites us as humanity. This really plays a very important role in human interactions across all of society and culture. And some of the most common factors that we see include things like flexibility, openness, curiosity to learn, right? So what's happening and what are some of the major obstacles to this in our society? As we see, most of us are walking around and we have what's called implicit bias. So we hold deep within our belief systems, we hold stereotypes and prejudices that may lead to negative impressions of other people or cultures. Or we might have an over-reliance on human universals, which means that we are saying, oh, everybody is exactly the same, which is not true because we all came from different cultures and backgrounds, right? Another obstacle is that there could be a lack of awareness in these cultural differences, right? We might not even realize that other people have different values or patterns of thinking than we do. Or we might just take our way as being the right way and just apply our way of being in the world as the way that everybody needs to be. These are some of the challenges that we face in our society today, in our global society, that we need to overcome. So the key to developing global citizens through intercultural communicative competence is to instill 3 values of global respect and dignity, mutuality and common understanding between people, and trust. Trust is a big one. But these are 3 key factors that are essential to have in order to promote intercultural communicative competence. Practically speaking, okay, the question is, I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I could be speaking on this for hours. So I am very much giving you just an overview and a highlight of what is so important to remember for our students, right, when we are putting them into this global marketplace. So if I'm looking and sharing some practical ways to incorporate this in our classroom, we can look at 3 different areas. And this is what I'm seeing not only in Pakistan, but in many countries around the world, including the United States. So I am not saying that we are perfect in this. This is in all different areas. When we're looking to incorporate intercultural communicative competence, we need to start looking at teacher development. So if the teacher herself or himself has not had these cultural experiences or has not had this type of exposure to other cultures, we need to make sure that we give them the opportunity to have these experiences so that they are able to communicate them and convey them in their classroom. So through things like increasing cultural exchange opportunities for teachers, study abroad opportunities, requiring different courses for teacher licensure and certification, and also just increasing mentorship through organizations like Patton that I founded. We are establishing partnerships and mentors between American and Pakistani teachers to help promote these ideas. Also implementing in the classroom themselves. Many societies, including Pakistan, have what's called a traditional educational style, where the teacher is looked to be the provider of information and the student is the receiver. If we're looking to equip our students with critical thinking and questioning and independent thought skills, we need to consider flipping the classroom and changing the role of the teacher to be more of a facilitator and a guide. That we are focusing on our students and our classrooms are student-centered. That we're incorporating methodologies that are asking questions. We're asking why. We're asking our students and challenging them. Why do they think this? What is their opinion? To defend it. It's helping them to find their voice and to build their confidence in the classroom. And the English classroom, of course, is a perfect platform to incorporate these skills, but think about it, they can be used in every subject. If we have the students direct their own learning, and we as a teacher are working as facilitators, it's helping them to find their confidence and find their voice so that they can stand up in the global classroom. Finally, I'm looking at things like curriculum development, to include intercultural communicative competence as a part of the curriculum, not only for students, but for teachers. And again, requirements for licensure. So one quick thing, I am almost wrapping up here, but as we are looking, just practically speaking, for all the teachers who are watching, If you're looking to incorporate this in your classroom, look at your curriculum right now. Even for parents, any parents who are watching, look at the books that your students are reading and ask yourself these questions, right? How are the different viewpoints represented, right? And who is representing them? Who is telling the story, right? What is the significance of the deeper points and what else needs to be learned about it? So these are different things that when we're looking at our books and our curriculum, we can get a better idea of who is telling the story and what type of perspective we are giving to our students. So just to wrap up, in conclusion, I'd like to say once again that we are looking here at our global society as we are incorporating technology more and more and more. It is so important for us to be able to equip our students not only with the tools to be able to connect with someone from the United States, from Swahili, from China, from anywhere in the world, okay? But we also need to equip them with the toolkit to be able to share their voice. As they get older and they become global citizens.
Inge, can I step in here, please?
Of course, yes.
Thank you so much for that enlightening discussion. We have a couple of questions from the audience, but unfortunately, in the interest of time, I'm only going to ask you one or two. The first one being, why is it important to be in touch with the elements that make up the future of learning?
Okay, why is it important to be in touch with the elements that make up the future of learning? Because our students are preparing to be future leaders of the world. As Pakistan is a developing country, Pakistan is looking to find its voice in this global discussion. If we are hoping for Pakistani students, all students, not just the students of privilege, but all students in Pakistan, if we are hoping for them to be able to find their voice in this global society and add to who they are, first and foremost, they are Pakistani. They have a culture and a heritage. They need to be able, in my opinion, to take that into the global marketplace. Their future is different from ours. Their colleagues, when they're working, they will be working with people from all around the world through online platforms. We need to make sure that the Pakistani is representing Pakistan and is not afraid to stand up and share his or her ideas, to question what's happening, to be able to promote his or her own values and have the confidence to do that. And that's what these skills are all about. It's about equipping our students, not only in Pakistan, but around the world, because this is what students are getting. This is what they are learning from many, many different countries. And it's so important that students of Pakistan in Pakistan also are receiving this. So
absolutely, and I couldn't agree more that students are the best cultural ambassadors for a country because of all the exchange programs that we run throughout the globe, and this is definitely the best way to connect to the future and sort of become the architects of the future. Next question, and I'd request you to be a little brief in your answer, would be, what is the role of teachers in the future of learning? Now, you have addressed it quite a bit in your presentation, but is there like one ending note, take home that you would like to leave the audience with?
As teachers, we need to adjust and adapt. We are not teaching in the same world that we were in when we were students. Even 10 or 15 years ago, okay, we are teaching in a different world. We need to reach our students where they are. We need to adapt to their needs and equip our students with what's needed. It is no longer our job to have all the answers. We can have the answers, but it's our job to challenge our students to think, to find the answer. So as a concrete example, if a student is in my class and asks me a question, I can turn around and ask the student, well, what do you think? Instead of me just answering the question, I can turn it around, ask him or her, what do you think? If they don't know, I can ask someone else, well, what do you think? And why? And start a whole conversation to address the idea and the issue so that everyone has their voices heard. There's no right or wrong answers in that way. And it helps our students to develop critical thinking and independent thought. So in my perspective, the role of teachers in the future of learning is we just need to adapt. We need to employ ourselves. We need to understand ourselves, the role of intercultural communicative competence. We need to also expand our own minds. And through this, it is through things like cultural exchange, spending time in these places, through curriculum development, through teacher licensure. These are all different areas that I feel that it can be promoted. So I hope that that is helpful to your viewer.
Absolutely. Inge, thank you so much for your time. And I couldn't stress upon the fact even more that we need more connections between the Pakistan and the US and Pakistan and the globe, because at the end of the day, connecting classrooms is going to create that kind of cultural competence and innovation and internationalization of ideas that is needed for the global economy to progress. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to keep hearing more from you in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from Inge for now. And for those of you who want to learn more about who she is and the kind of work she does, we've shared some links to her profiles and socials in the description section. And please keep us updated with your comments and feedback. We'll join you again for one more stream. There's a case study, very interesting one, about keeping secure connections in education. Thank you very much. Inge is signing off.
Thank you again. Have a great day.